Hello. Hello. Welcome to this morning taste challenge. Okay. All right. I was going to do it tomorrow at 6, well, really about 6:10 a.m. Central Time. But I started thinking about it. I was out walking, I was thinking about it. And I said, man, I don't really feel like rushing through it and being, I can't do the challenge right. I don't feel like I do the challenge right when I'm being pressured to rush through it. I'm not saying I'm going to go long, drug out right now, start talking about other concepts and all that like I do. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I can't stand being rushed, So I won't do a challenge tomorrow. There won't be a Dawn Busters tomorrow. This is a morning challenge. It's 7:31. It's very foggy. Well, the fog's lifting. It's humid and it's warm. Typical Louisiana March. Oh, yeah, we'll have little cool fronts coming through, cold fronts. It'll get down to 48, 46 at night a few times. Even in April, it'll do that. Even in May, sometimes it'll get down to like 51 at night. But it's trending, it's been trending warm since January, the last week of January. So you're going to get these days up to 81. It's even gotten up to 85 already this year in February. We had a warm February and a cool March, believe it or not. But so, and I didn't worry about the plants getting killed by the cold. I said, that's not a worry because you can cut them down and they're going to grow back much stronger than before. Maxwell says, hi, Ron, glad to see you. Hello, Maxwell. Greetings to you over there in Russia. So, I mean, yeah, the palm, you see that palm tree got all brown. Sago palm, I think it's called. But I'm not worried about it. It'll grow back. I'll just clip off those, or they'll fall off those dead leaves. And the rose bush are cut back. It's growing back like crazy. It's got so many buds on it. The azaleas laughed at the cold, though. It was 18 degrees for hours and hours, and it busted a pipe at my house, cost me $110. I know other people had to pay a lot of money. But the azaleas laughed at that cold. They scoffed at it. It like didn't affect them at all. Made them come out better. So it's strange how this freezing weather can affect some things, and then other plants just laugh at it as though it's nothing. But this morning, and like I said, no taste challenge tomorrow. But we have Old Crow. Well, this is one of the old brands from 1835. 1835. I'm kidding you not. Do we know for sure that's the first? This is my LSU 2003 football national championship. Well, it was like a shared national championship because the Associated Press said Southern California won it. But other people said it was Louisiana State. But then in 2007, every major organization said LSU was the champion. But they weren't undefeated. The only time LSU ever went undefeated and won the national championship was 1958. There was no question then. No question. They won every game. They beat Clemson 7-0. That was a close game. 7-0 in the Sugar Bowl. And everybody said they're number one. I mean, it was no doubt. So the other ones are not as spectacular as 60 years ago. But anyway, Old Crow from Maxwell says, I hear birds singing outside your window. Oh, yes. I got the windows open. Old Crow was introduced in 1935. Dr. James Crow, an immigrant from Scotland. Was he the first person to make sour mash whiskey? This we don't know. It's a nice label too. It's filigree. You can feel it's got texture. The letters, you can feel the letters and the bird, the feathers even. He pioneered, but we do know he pioneered sour mash whiskey, and he may or may not have been, but he may have been the guy, the first man to use it. Okay. Aged for 3 years in new charred white oak barrels. 80 proof these days. It used to be higher proof. There even used to be a bottled and bond version, 100 proof. That's gone. There is a 6-year age though, which we can't get here. But it's a nice label. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel and it's a texture like they make the black like wood. It's nice, but it's $9.99 at the store. Winn-Dixie. Is it the #1 selling bourbon these days? No, it was 70 years ago. Nah, it's just like a kind of forgotten brand, but it is a big seller. You know what I mean? Like, you'll never see an advertisement for it. It's on the bottom shelf. People look at it as a cheap brand, but millions of people buy it every week. Okay, so, and for the last 31 years, it's been owned by Jim Beam. Old Crow. The Old Crow distillery is actually shut down. It's a relic. I've seen videos. Ooh, for too much. I've seen photos on the internet where people have visited the distillery and just really trespassed onto the property, took photos, beautiful, high quality, high definition photos. And it's strange because when they shut the distillery down in 1987, they just walked out and abandoned it. There's still bags of grain sitting there. You'd be surprised. You'd think rats would have eaten it all, but it's just, they couldn't get in, I guess. Just sitting there. Truly a ghost town type experience. Everything was just dropped and left. Kind of like the Falstaff Brewery in New Orleans. Somebody went on a personal tour. In other words, he trespassed. And he took a whole huge series of videos and photos of that distillery, that brewery in New Orleans about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, right before somebody bought it and turned it into apartments. And he was just walking through there, and there were file cabinets full of paperwork, old signs, Falstaff signs, and labels, thousands of labels, and the big kettles, copper kettles, just sitting there, empty. Grain, it was just bizarre. And I went to Dixie Brewery a month before Katrina hit. I don't want to talk about that. That'd get me too upset because it was still operating. Nightmare. And I drank that Dixie out the draft tap. It was so good. In the bottle, it's all right. Okay, I made a mistake. I did it again, running my mouth. I poured the Speckled tail into the Old Crow and the Old Crow, because I did the Speckled tail, Old Crow first. Okay, well, what's wrong with me? All right. Make sure here. No, I have it right. Sorry. You can tell by the color. I mean, this one is clearly gold, and this one is clearly copper. All right, I got it. I'm absent-minded. You know, I think I'm intelligent and I can remember a lot of things, but I'm absent-minded. Like, my short-term memory is not good, and it never has been. So when I get really old, it's going to be sad because I'll be saying, "Why you never come see me?" And people will be like, "I came to see you yesterday." No, you didn't. What's your name? Oh yeah, and then but I'll be able to tell them about. I remember in 1974 when Land of the Lost was started. I loved that TV show. And they'll be talking to each other saying, it's bad. It's really bad. He's gone. He's gone. But it will be nothing new. I'll be saying, when I was 49 years old, my short-term memory was terrible. They'll say, he's so out of it. I'll be saying, don't you believe me? They say, he's 89. He's gone. But I'll be thinking to myself, no, I really was like that. But since I'm old, you think I'm just out of it. And then I'll get mad and irritable, and they'll say, it's just dementia. And I'll be like, no, I'm really irritable because you're not believing what I'm saying. And you know how that goes. It's sad. But of course, by that time, it'll probably be some kind of euthanasia program, some like German National Socialist Hitler type program where they, like the Netherlands adopted already, where they just get rid of all the old people for utilitarian reasons. You know, they'll just call it life unworthy of life. Or like in Iceland, where there's no Down syndrome anymore. What do? They found a cure for Down syndrome? Yeah, they kill all the people with Down syndrome. See, that's the cure, the final solution to Down syndrome. So it's ironic, isn't it, that people that preach about the Holocaust 8 days a week are, to a large extent, the same people that promote abortion and getting rid of Lebenswürdigen Lebens, lives unworthy of life. Strange. We're going to make museums to honor mass killings, but then we're going to make sure that we have the right people on the Supreme Court to continue mass killing. So, but I'm sorry, I keep letting that little thing called logic creep in, and I do apologize, because I'll tell you what, logic is a tricky thing, boy. You start letting that come in, and you could screw up a whole lot of philosophical viewpoints that are based on emotion and hysteria and anger. Okay. All right. Let's go. Yeah, I thought that was darker. I got to close my eyes, because if I glance, I'm going to know. Speckled tail, old crow. Well, my friend Bobby Futch, and Bobby, if you're watching this, and there's almost no chance that you are, but if you're watching this, thank you for giving me that unopened 1977 bottle of Old Crow that was distilled in 1969. That 100 proof Old Crow bottled in bond. Awesome. A little too strong for my taste, but it was awesome. And then he gave me an unopened bottle of Wild Turkey from 1983, 101. Awesome. Too strong. Then the cork broke. It was so dry rotted, the cork broke into the bottle, and then it's full of cork. Oh, I didn't dump it out. I just put it in a strainer and strained all the whiskey, then threw the cork out and poured the whiskey back in the bottle, and it was okay. Don't matter. I drank it down, you know. That Old Crow 101, boy, that was good, but I prefer the Old Crow 81, honestly. That bourbon, it's more my style. Okay. Oh, I think I know already. That smells like Jim Beam products. You know what I mean? Mossy, Greenwood. Although this is not that different. This is going to be tricky. Oh, I got to watch it. 3-year age, Old Crow age 3 years in new barrels, charred oak barrels. And Speckled Tail age 4 years in used barrels. But they're both 80 proof, so it could be tough, man. Man, my stomach is growling. I don't know how I can wait 3 more hours to eat. I had a bowl of Apple Jacks. You may not realize this, but Apple Jacks, a little bowl with milk, does not fill you up. I'm telling you, you'll be hungry soon enough. And I weighed myself this morning, exactly 145.0 pounds, 145.0, and that's where I want to be. And it's fine if you don't mind being hungry a lot. That's the truth. But then I'll trade that off for diabetes and being overweight and being sick. I don't want that. I don't need that. I don't like it. I don't want it. Let's go with the taste. And remember, no taste challenge tomorrow. I'm doubling up today. And then I'm going to have to double up next Tuesday and Thursday. I believe that's going to happen. But that's okay, because it's still the same amount each week. We're looking at it week by week. There's no more liquor being consumed this week than next week or the week before or the week after, okay? Oh, this bourbon corn. I'm just getting sick of it. I cannot wait. I can't wait to get into the blended whiskeys and the Canadian blended whiskeys and the blended Scotch whiskey. I can't wait because I'm getting so sick of bourbon. I'm telling you, I'm getting sick of bourbon. And that sounds like a heresy, you know, apostasy. People say, you're stupid. I'm not stupid if I like. Personal preference is not stupid. You cannot be stupid and prefer certain things, okay? That doesn't even make any sense. It's like saying somebody has bad taste in beer because they like light beer. That's what they like. I don't like the corn in the bourbon. I don't like all that grits. I've eaten enough grits in my life. I don't need that. I don't want it. I don't like it. I really do. I don't like it. I don't like it. So you might be saying, you don't like bourbon? That's okay. I'd rather drink brandy. And don't say it's because of the cheaps. Don't say it, because I've had Pappy Van Winkle and I've had the Four Roses special edition 10-year aged. That's like $150 a bottle. I had some of that. It was great, but I still would. I don't like it. I don't like the grit taste. Sorry, corn. It's still awesome. I just don't like it. Well, in this case, Old Crow is 90 cents cheaper. I mean, that's chump change, you know. So they're essentially the same price. But that's not really true, because you can get the big plastic handle bottle of Old Crow for really cheap at Walmart. Really cheap at Walmart. So it's actually cheaper, really. Old Crow's cheaper if you buy the big bottle and you don't mind plastic. Now, James P. Madonna, he won't buy plastic. He thinks it's like makes the whiskey bad and it's got chemicals in it or something. I don't really believe that, but I can understand not wanting to. I don't have any plastic bottles. Well, I have some small plastic bottles, but not the jugs. I don't really like plastic. It just looks cheap. I don't like it. I don't think it's, you know, like a corporate capitalist conspiracy, though. I just don't like the aesthetics of it. Yeah. This is Speckled Tail, and this is Old Crow. I'm telling you right now from the taste. This is much more harsher. Oh, I'm sorry. Bolder. It's much more bold and Jack Daniels-esque. You know what I mean? It was made to mimic Jack Daniels, so that's what it's going to taste like. This is so Old Crow, quintessential Old Crow. It's that Jim Beam-esque Greenwood, like a little bit of cellar mold. I don't know what it is about Jim Beam, but they got this cellar mold. It reminds me of Abbott Ale from England, which has that weird cellar mold taste. But it's good. Boy, I need to get back to Abbott Ale. It's been so long. Yeah, so which one's better? Okay. Well, I don't know. Boy, that's char. I mean, that is heavy char. And it's not even new barrels. It's used barrels. But boy, the char is just like, hi, would you like to drink some charcoal with me? This is much more floral and sweet caramel. I can't say which one's better. I guess it's a tie and the price is a tie. So the whole thing is a tie. My personal preference, I would rather drink Old Crow because I like the more mellow approach. So a viewer might say, so what you're trying to say is you would rather drink Old Crow than Jack Daniels? Yes. That's correct. I would. I think Old Crow's better than Jack Daniels. And Old Crow's $9.99. And Jack Daniels is $22.99. Now, you can buy whatever you want to buy, and I encourage you to do it. But there's no way I'm going to pay $22.99 for a bottle of Jack Daniels when I can pay $9.99 for Old Crow, and I'll enjoy it more. Your neighbor says Jameson Irish whiskey on this end. Oh, my daughter is a Jameson fanatic. And Killian's Irish Red. Ah, everybody's celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Killian's Irish Red is an Irish-based recipe. He says screw Guinness. Now, wait a minute. Now, that's where we got to part ways. I like Killian's Irish Red, and I mean, I really like it. I mean, like 2 thumbs up, more like 4 thumbs up, but I don't have 4 thumbs. Screw Guinness? No. I can't go along with that. Now, I love Guinness, so I'm sorry, yo neighbor. I can't do that. Y'all want to see an Irish whiskey? You want to see something? You want to see it? Do you? You do? Okay. Watch this. Well, we were outdone by this. Now, we were outdone. So I'm going to post it today since it's St. Patrick's Day, although somebody might be watching the video 5 years from now on Mardi Gras Day, or, some day, or Christmas Day. It has nothing to do with St. Patrick's. But I bought this at Albertsons, called Drum Castle Irish Whiskey. So I said, oh, well, it's $14.99. It's a little cheaper than normal because it's usually about $18, $19, but they had it on sale at Albertsons. So I said, okay, Drum Castle, never heard of it. Nice looking label. And it was interesting because it says aged in bourbon barrels and wine oak barrels for 3 years. So they use a combination of bourbon and wine barrels. Okay. So my daughter and I'm going to post the video. As soon as this is over, I'm going to start uploading that video. So wait about an hour and a half and it'll be posted. She's always keen to try any kind of whiskey, but she's very prejudiced against macro beers. So like Budweiser, Busch Ice, or Busch Light, she would call that canal water. And I say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But she says I'm wrong, but I say she's wrong, So she just will openly be hostile to regular beers. Openly hostile, which is her purview. She has a right to be hostile. She's buying it. She can drink what she wants. But she says, oh, yeah, let's try this Drum Castle. Well, see, my daughter I think what got her into that attitude was that when she started drinking beer with me in whenever it was, when she was 18 years old, 2011. Because in Louisiana, you can drink at 18. That's actually the law. I checked the law. You can't buy alcohol at 18, but you can drink it. Louisiana put in a lot of loopholes to get around the federal blackmail. But her first experience this is her first beer she ever drank. Her first beers. Spaten Optimator and Chimay Red Cap. That was her original experience. So when you start off there, it might, interfere with your appreciation of, say, like a Miller High Life or a Budweiser. But although she did say that she could tolerate Miller High Life for everyday drinking. So, but we did the Drum Castle and we were just blown away. We couldn't get over it. So when you see that video, you're going to either like it or hate it, but we just loved it. She said it was a different animal than Jameson. So she couldn't really compare it to Jameson because it was too different of an animal. But we could not get over it. Could not get over it. Your neighbor says, I don't understand why they don't make Mickey's in 40-ounce grenade-shaped bottles. Oh, well, I mean, you have to contact Molson Coors and ask them why not. I have a 40-ounce glass bottle of Mickey's in my fridge right now. I'm waiting for David to come over, you know, with the big beard. Because David wants to do regular beers interspersed with the craft beers. And I said, well, I bought a whole bunch of regular beers, Old English 800, Bud Ice, Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, Natural Light, all that stuff, you know. So it's be very interesting to see what he says about it. So anyway, Drum Castle, if you go to Albertsons or Vons or Super Value or Jewel Osco, or there are 50 other chain stores that they own, check out Drum Castle. It's on sale probably through the end of today, St. Patrick's Day. $15, $14.99. I think you'll be very pleased. It is unique. I'm smelling it right now. You could trick a person and make them think it's Scotch. It is that peaty. Like, you don't think it's that full of peat moss. Like moss. I don't mean peat from the ground. Almost like Spanish moss. It's bizarre. It is bizarre, but it is wonderful. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I actually believe it because I drank it and it's great. Great. I think I prefer the Drum Castle over the Jameson, and the Jameson rum. What was it? The stout cask. You know, the aged in stout barrels, and there's a third one. We did 3. Very nice. Very nice. But I think the Drum Castle beats it, which, you know, Sazerac has a an interesting approach, because they put out stuff that it might not be stylistically correct. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't quite fit the style, like that bizarre Hartley's brandy, which tastes nothing like brandy. It tastes like butterscotch candy and whatever else. But there's something about Sazerac. They're willing to go out on the edge and like stand around the periphery of what's acceptable. So you can get some really interesting stuff from Sazerac. Not to mention their vodka and their gin. And I would say this before I get off of here. Before you turn your nose up to it, I would recommend checking out Taka Gin and what's the other one from Sazerac that everybody sells? Taka Gin and Mims Gin, Mims. They're unusual. They're strange. They're like, you might drink that and say, this is not what gin tastes like. But then you might say, but it's really interesting. You know, it's odd. They must use some very peculiar botanicals, and it's very cheap. All right. Yo Neighbor says, can you get Mickey's Ice? That's my favorite. No, sadly, I've only ever been able to buy Mickey's Ice in Florida on US Highway 19. Literally, the only highway in Florida I've ever gotten it on. United States Highway 19. Mickey's Ice. And in Wisconsin, oddly, on State Highway 32, they call it the Lake Road. It's like literally the Lake Road. It runs right along Lake Michigan. There was a gas station, and they had Mickey's Ice Brewed Ale, right? It's Ice Brewed Ale. And I bought it, and it's wonderful. Fleischmann's makes awful stuff, laugh out loud. Oh, Fleischmann's. Oh. Well, you know what? Sazerac bought Fleischmann's years ago. True story. And they make the Fleischmann's gin, the Fleischmann's vodka. The Fleischmann's blended whiskey. Oh, yeah. That's all Sazerac. And I've never had it, but yeah, I know Fleischmann's is a flashpoint, right? They've got people that drink Fleischmann's as a ritual, you know, every day. And they got other people that hate it, but they kind of love to hate it. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those kind of things that you love to hate. It's like it's so bad that it's good. You know, like some beers are so bad they're good. They're so bad that it's almost like fun to drink them because you have to admire their gall. You have to admire the gall to put out a product that bad. Like these people put this out and you just know there is no way guys in a lab coat are sitting there drinking that name tag lager and saying, ah, right, it fits all the parameters we've established for acceptable beer. There ain't no way that's happening. Nasty, their whiskey tastes like chemicals, like earthquake. Right. I can go to 1 mile away and get earthquake, and it's so bad it's good. You know what I mean? Like you have to admire that they would have the gall to put out something like that. But I ain't going to do it. All right. So anyway, I guess we'd have to say that in this case, I guess Old Crow wins by a nose or a beak. Yeah, Old Crow wins by a beak because it's a little bit cheaper per ounce if you get the big bottle. And it's a little milder. You know, it's a little milder. Speckled Tail's a little harsh. I mean to say bold because they're trying to mimic something from Tennessee. You know what I mean? Imagine drinking a 5-year-old warm earthquake. Nah, I would rather be kidnapped by Iraqi terrorists, honestly. Okay. Okay. What's next? Well, I'm going to upload that video for the fascinating drum castle, and it'll be about 3 days before we do another Dawn Busters. But that's okay. No rush. Dawn Busters, 3 days. We'll do Speckled Tail versus Jim Beam Original. Oh, yeah, that won't be much of a challenge. I bet you I'll do just like this. I'll taste it and I'll know right off the bat. Would I rather be deported to North Korea? Laugh out loud. Well, if they let me try all those North Korean lagers that I keep hearing about, I would, you know, if they were cool about it. I'd be up there, you know, wearing that gray prison outfit saying, let me, Louisiana Beer Reviews, North Korea, you know, Pyongyang lager, whatever. I'd still do the video, you know. But then we'll do the Jim Beam choice, and then we'll do the Jack Daniels and Jack Daniels Green Lip. I think that all is going to get done in 1 week, next week. Tuesday early, then Tuesday later, Thursday early, and Thursday later. Yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting. Then it'll be a few months before we do another taste challenge. The reason is because I've got a lot of stuff to drink down. Well, no, let me retract that because I just realized that I got to do the Albertsons. Albertsons blended whiskey that I paid $4.99 for. True story. And it's aged 4 years. True story. Yeah, I'll probably put that into play. So, yeah. All right. Well, corned beef and cabbage is going to be tasty. Yeah. Well, for St. Patrick's Day, I think I'm going to have spaghetti and meatballs. I know that sounds terrible, but I am going to do it. All right. Thanks, folks, for watching this video production.